if you move here to Taos, you're probably going to have to learn how to use a chainsaw, use tools, drive your truck on terrible roads to go get your firewood. You're going to have to learn to build. It's quite a challenge. So this brings out the innate capacity of women here. And then there are the women who were already here. Long before Mabel Dodge Lujan and Beatrice Mandelman, there were these heroic women, like you say, who kept the community going when there were no men here. So I think that these things work together to bring it about. But like I say, I think it's a global phenomenon.
You go out and mud the church. When they're mudding the church in Ranchos, you go and say, oh, this is fabulous. What can I do? Can I bring food? Teach me how to mud the church. You get involved in the Acequia Association. If you have land here, you make it your business to learn how the water works. You go to the Acequia meetings. You go to the farmers market and talk to people. There used to be bars here. We used to have a bar culture here. That's kind of gone. So you don't necessarily meet everybody at the local pub anymore, which is in a sense sad. But you have to look around the community and see, where's the work going on? Where's the work of the community going on? And the work of the community goes on. We have fabulous doctors here, all of whom could make a fortune in other places, and all of whom have decided to be here as service, and because they love it. So you find where the work of the town is going on, and you involve yourself in that work. And that's how you become a member of a community instead of a tourist who sees this as a movie set that's cute.
It's the life you're getting in exchange for the money. That's something I try to remind myself when I'm broke. But I have this great view, and I have space, and I have a wonderful community, and the community is a really wonderful one here. It's a big barter, help everyone out community kind of. It's awesome. So that's the exchange rate. You can live in LA and make way more money and have to pay everyone for everything, and not really have that community, and not really, get caught in a rat race. So it depends on where you are. I see a lot of people leave this, in parts of their life, and then they come here a little later and rediscover it.
Well, I would say that so far, I think New Mexico has so many remarkable women, and that's one piece of it. The other piece is that I think the physicality of Taos is magic. I think we've all read and heard forever about the mountain, but driving in here from anywhere, it possesses its community. And I've often thought that this would be an astounding place to live because it feels connected to its earth and its sky. Women, I think, are very gutsy about waking up one day and saying, you know what, my life isn't working. I think I'd like to try a different way. And I think they have the courage to say, this sounds great, I think I'll try it. And I think once you try it here, you're committed.
If you really decide that, this is what I'm going to make happen, you really can do it. And I think it's a combination of the community kind of really getting behind that. I think that this community is unique and sort of, it does kind of have that old frontiery sort of rebelliousness, which is like, well, that's how you do it, but I don't really care. This is how I'm going to do it, and I think that's, there is an energy here that I think sort of self-perpetuates that kind of attitude. And I think in regards to food, it's a little bit of the same thing. It's like, okay, yeah, we're at a pretty high elevation. The freeze comes early and late, and yet, it's like, let's figure out how to make this fly.
Taos itself, the Valley of Taos, the mountain, is a very powerful place. Where you pull your energy from or your inspiration from is different for everybody. And for some people, it's the mountain. For some people, it's the landscape. For some people, they feel it's a spiritual spot, So it's different for everyone. But I think that for most women, their upbringing and their influences throughout their younger years has a lot to do with where they draw their energy from later.
It's a dramatic place. People are attracted to it for those reasons. it's the end of the road in some ways, in a positive way, like a cul-de-sac. It's easy to get into and not so easy to get back out of.
Well, I just love Taos, and I think that you have to have a very visceral connection to it. I think in probably an ungrounded fantasy, I would have told you, oh, I'll probably die in Taos. Why? I don't know. Because it's beautiful. It's also a place where there is a tradition of interesting women. I think it is both out of the fray, but it's a very sophisticated town, and the people that come here bring a lot of the world with them. And I just always liked Taos. It would both satisfy that need to be somewhere in the West and also to have this interesting community. The more time we spend here, the more we got hooked.
It's just a funky place to live and kind of on the edge. And I'm that kind of a person. You can go a little out of bounds and still be accepted. And you can, it seems to me a place, if you really want to do something, that, there's really no boundaries. You can start it. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But you don't have all these rules and regulations, or as much. So that's why I've stayed.
I really think it's funny, I see a lot of people from other parts of the country and other parts of the world that come here to Taos, and a lot of their first impressions is, this place is so dingy and dirty. And I'm like, what? Really? You think so? I mean, I think it's awesome, and it's not like polished like Colorado, but I feel like the art scene, maybe that's what is, we're bred on this huge cosmopolitan idea, but really I think that we're still kind of a Western town of a bunch of just creative people, and that don't have to drive clean cars and wear high heels.
People in Santa Fe tell tourists, and tourists tell me all the time that, I don't know if you want to go up to Taos. There are crazy people up there. And Taos has this reputation for being kind of a Wild West still, or a little bit crazy, a little bit, people really get involved in everything that goes on in the community. And often, I think people just like to be part of whatever it is. Sometimes I think some people don't care which side of a controversy they're on. They just want to be part of it. So everybody shows up and everybody has an opinion, and I think that's fabulous.
Different kind of people have been coming to Taos for a long time, and they come here because they're not accepted the way they are for whatever reason, I think. And Native people just kind of, I think they just kind of accepted they weren't discriminating against anybody a long time ago. In fact, I think they found they had a lot more in common with the hippies than probably anybody else, because they wanted to go back to the earth, and they walked around barefoot, and they didn't wear a lot of makeup, just like Indian people at the Pueblo. They didn't wear makeup. It was kind of this organicness, and they were nudity wasn't really a big issue. I think in Native culture, there's lots of dances where the guys go shirtless. You have to let that go, and you just got to be uninhibited that way. It's strange when people say that they don't like it, or that they didn't have a good time. Those stories are rare, but for the most part, everyone just loves Taos, and it's so relaxed, and it's casual and casual fine dining. It's like you want to get dressed up, and then you look like the weirdo because you have high heels and a nice dress. That's why you have to leave, so you can do that.
Most common question at the World Cup: where did all this money come from? Well, the money came from all over the world, in the wallets of people who traveled with it, the people who lived in those places, the people who visited those places. And they're coming here all the time for many different reasons. Many reasons.
Such as?
It's beautiful, there's good art, somebody told them to, they were driving through, they heard the World Cup had great coffee, they heard Shri had excellent yoga, they heard that the Taos Inn had some fantastic margaritas, they thought that they might meet somebody interesting like Dennis Hopper, or like Julia Roberts. I mean, Julia Roberts lives here. You know why she lives here? Because we leave her alone. Because she's just another person. She's no more special than you, Kiki. You know, you're more popular and famous in this community than she is. This is a place for everyone to be. You earn your right to fame by how you behave, period. So, yeah, everybody's here. Why wouldn't they be? It's better than Santa Fe.
Feel love, crazy for your love, and when I get that feeling, sweet love I'll be dealing. When I get that feeling, sweet love I'll be dealing.